Say hi. Yeah. Mwah. Hi booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I am here today to do a relatively new tag called the Cozy Christmas book tag. And this one is the movie version. Yeah, there's another Cozy Christmas book tag out there that is like the prompts are like twinkling lights and things like this, but Art at Bookshelf Odyssey, this tag that he created, all the prompts are based on holiday movies. So I tried really hard, you guys, to show you some books that I don't talk about on my channel all the time, because I know there are some things that we just talk about over and over again. So I just want to start off by saying, like, the ultimate Christmas book is A Christmas Carol. So if you have not read this book, and I'm not saying you have to read the annotated one, but really it's such an important book. It's such a beautiful book, and there's so many great things about it. So Art in his original tag mentions a lot of Dickens. So I left Dickens out, but I had to make a plug for A Christmas Carol because it feels like every year I'm trying to persuade people to read it. So here we go. Let's get into the questions. The Santa Claus, which is a movie starring Tim Allen, and it's been a while since I've seen that one. Recommend a book about family. So many books you could use for this. So I picked a book that would probably be harder for many of you to find. This is called Riding the White Horse Home, a Western Family Album by Teresa Jordan. And this is actually a memoir of Teresa Jordan's, like, her family history in southeastern Wyoming, which is, I mean, where she is at is not where I grew up, but it's not very far away, and it is, like, you gotta be tough to live in that part of the state. Like, it is one of the windiest places I have ever been. Like, it doesn't matter like what season of the year it is. Like, if you're driving on the interstate, you're going through that part of Wyoming, it will be windy. So anyway, but I read this quite a while ago, but I really enjoyed it. I was actually a little bit surprised. So yeah, this is published by Vintage, and anyway, so I really enjoyed it. Okay, 2, The Grinch. Recommend a book about the redemption of a unlikable character, right? So we have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I don't have the book, but again, like, super hard not to choose A Christmas Carol for this particular one. But so I went a very different route, and I went with Prospero from The Tempest. And I don't think Prospero is without any good qualities, but he definitely has made some like kind of harsh choices. And we understand throughout the course of the play, like, what's motivating him on some of those things. But yeah, I think there is redemption at the end of The Tempest, and that's what makes it such an incredible play. So anyway, yeah, not what you were expecting for a prompt related to the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Okay, so the next one is The Polar Express. Recommend a book about travel. Guys, you know where I wanted to go, but I didn't do it. I picked On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Now, I know not a lot of people, like, some people have a hard time with this book. I just think the writing is explosive, and vibrant, and I am long overdue for a reread of this book. It's excellent. Okay. Prompt number 4, Home Alone. Again, I haven't seen Home Alone for so long, and we don't own it, but recommend a book about a character who faces challenges on their own. So again, I'm like really grasping here for a book that I haven't shown before. So I went actually with nonfiction. This is, and I don't know if I'm going to say it right, Zaytoon, by Dave Eggers. Again, it's been quite a while since I've read this book, but it was excellent. And it's not just him, it's his family. The first thing I did in deciding whether or not to pick this book is I opened it up, and the first page here is this really long blurb. And it says, "Imagine Charles Dickens." And I was like, okay. And it's really kind of, and this blurb is from Timothy Egan, who is an absolutely fantastic nonfiction writer in his own right. But it's kind of about, especially the man and his family, and the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, and the war on terror, whatever you think that might mean. So anyway, I do remember thinking that this was a really powerful story, and I was really surprised. Like, I learned a lot from it, and yeah, so I would recommend that one. Okay. Question 5, the Hallmark Christmas Movie. Recommend a book you find cozy. All right, so I have to talk a little bit about Hallmark movies, just in case you're watching from some exotic location and don't know about Hallmark movies. So Hallmark movies are, they're definitely cozy. They're definitely, I don't know. It was so funny. So several years ago, we went to stay with Jason's family. Obviously, it had to be several years ago because it was pre-COVID. And yeah, and his mom really wanted us to watch this show on the Hallmark Channel. And both Jason and I were like, okay. And we weren't quite sure we were getting for it, because a lot of Hallmark movies are, maybe, like, for us at least, like, and I know there are people out there who just absolutely love them, but they can be a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy. There's also sometimes an element of faith to them, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie by any means, but it's just like, yeah, it's just an element, like, you're not really sure how it's gonna unfold within the film itself. Like, my parents made me watch A Christmas Candle not last year, but recently, and like, I took one for the team there. I did not really like it. And if you are a fan of the show, so the show that my husband's mother wanted us to watch was Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. It started off as like kind of it had a season of episodes, and then they became like slightly longer individual episodes. So of course you could buy all of the DVDs for every episode. Oh my God. But anyway, this is the Christmas one of Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, and it's so great. I just love it so much. And it makes Jason cry. But we will be watching this this holiday season. So yeah. Anyway, having said all of that, like, the book that I picked is actually a Christmas book, and it's called Christmas Stories for the Heart, compiled by Alice Gray. And then I started. Now, it's been a long time since I got this book. It was actually a Christmas gift from my aunt, who is a very devout Christian woman, and I really do like, or I remember really liking the stories in this. I've read it more than once. Probably, I don't know, maybe even like 3 times. But you know, as we get older, as our life changes, as our, you know, if you have a belief system, like your faith may change. And like, so looking at some of the authors that are in this book, I was kind of horrified. So it might be time to reread it again and see if it is something that I want to hold on to. There's one story in here that's just absolutely fantastic. But there are some authors in here that I have major problems with now at this point in my life. So it's kind of the same sort of situation as the Hallmark movie. Like, you're not really sure what you're going to get. Like, there's going to be like Christian faith, but what is that faith going to look like? That sort of thing. So, okay. Let's see. Question 6, A Christmas Story. So Art doesn't like A Christmas Story. Some channels, or at least one channel, I think, runs this like all day long on Christmas Day. I'm okay with it, like, but Jason actually, he doesn't like it at all, so we don't really watch it. But the prompt related to A Christmas Story is, because Art doesn't like that film, recommend a book you didn't like the first time and then try to reread it a second time. Did you like it better the second time, or did you DNF it? So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I really don't DNF things. However, if I don't like a book, I have man, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a really, really strong recommendation for me to pick that book up again. So, or again, over time, like a change in attitude. So I actually don't have anything to share with you on that one. I couldn't think of any books to go with that particular prompt. Okay. So this is the movie that Jason loves and can probably quote almost every line, and I'm not that crazy about, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And the prompt for this is read a book that always makes you laugh. So here's my nod to Paris and to France. And I've shown this on my channel before, but I just grabbed it again. This is Monsieur Mediocre by John Van Soffen. One American learns the high art of being everyday French. And I don't know if you can see, I have 2 little sticky notes in here, and they are, and I realize they're early on in the book, but they are the funniest parts of the book. And so, yeah, like, I just have them marked because they're just so crazy and funny, and yeah. So anyway, so this would be my choice. You know, this might be a book that normally I would read and enjoy and then maybe pass on to someone else, but because it's so funny, I can't get rid of it. So, all right. Oh, A Miracle on 34th Street is the next prompt. And Art likes the remake better than the original. So the prompt is recommend a book that is a retelling of a classic or a book about faith in something. I went with a book about faith. I actually grabbed a couple things. These are 2 books that have been really instrumental in my faith journey, I guess I would say. The first one is The Ragamuffin Gospel by Brennan Manning. And this is a book about the grace of God. There's this is Rich Mullins down here below, who was a really famous Christian singer back in the day, and he tragically died in a car accident. I think he was in his 30s, but he just really lived a different way, and Brennan Manning's teaching really influenced him. and the way he lived. And yeah, so I have several books by Brennan Manning, but this is the one that I tend to return to. The other one I need to reread is My Bright Abyss by Christian, make sure I get this right, Christian Wyman, who is a poet. He was the editor of Poetry magazine. And yeah, it's just a really, really powerful book. The subtitle is Meditation of a Modern Believer. So anyway, I really, really, really like that book. Even though, like, it's also at times heartbreaking. Okay. Question 9. It's a Wonderful Life. Recommend a book that you have reread, especially if it's been more than twice. And then, do you like rereading books? Why or why not? So I do like rereading books. I think my only problem is, like, there's so many books I want to read. Yeah, like, how do you get to them all? Like, yeah, it's just so much out there that I want to read and learn about and experience. So I don't think I devote as much time to rereading as I would like to, but that just, kind of is what it is. So the book or books I picked for this prompt is the Betsy Tacy series by Maud Hart Lovelace. Now, this is a PS edition that has the first 4 books in it. So the first 4 books are quite short. Starts off with Betsy Tacy, which are 2 little girls who, one of them moves into the house across the street from the other one, and it's about their friendship. The whole series is charming and delightful. I've read probably the first 4 the most times, but yeah, it's the whole series. I would just really, it's very cozy, whatever that means. I still don't know, but these are just really heartwarming books, and they hold a special place in my heart, at least. Okay. Question 10, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I actually feel like is a Halloween movie rather than a Christmas movie. Am I crazy? Maybe. This is the film, though, that really helped me to celebrate Halloween, like, in my own way. Because when I worked for Barnes & Noble, Christmas starts in August, essentially. Like, we start getting Christmas books in August. And so by the time Christmas arrives, I just wasn't getting as much joy out of Christmas, and so I decided to try to focus on, like, Halloween a little bit more. And so I watched some movies and I read some mysteries, and yeah, so that used to be my tradition for October, was to only read mysteries, but booktube has clearly changed all that. So anyway, okay, so read a scary book. And again, like, this is the Cozy Christmas book tag, so I feel like I couldn't pick anything too, I don't know. Well, it is, I don't know. I think it's a scary book. Maybe suspense is a better word for it. And that is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I would say, if you haven't, this is set in Victorian London, and I would say if you have not read this book, you should read it, and don't read the flaps, don't read any reviews, don't read the back of the book, nothing. Because you do not want anything to ruin this book for you, I promise. It's a bit chunky, it's a bit of a chunkster, but Sarah Waters is an absolutely phenomenal writer. I need to read more by her. So yeah, there's a lot of her books that I haven't read. I think I've read 2. I I'm trying to see them. They're hidden on the shelf over there. But anyway, I've read a couple of her books, but we own all of them. Let's see. Okay. And the next prompt is Elf. Recommend holiday book, any holiday. But of course I'm gonna pick a Christmas book. So I think I read this last year or the year before. This is called Raising the Bar, Big Dreams, Fall Starts, and My Midlife Quest to Dance the Nutcracker by Lauren Kessler. And this is, if you want to know what it's like, you know, the discipline that it takes to dance in a ballet company, this is the book. And I love the Nutcracker. I'm always looking for new versions of it to watch each holiday season. And one of my favorite choreographers, Christopher Wheeldon, has done one, but unfortunately I don't think it's available to see anywhere. If anyone knows, please, my God, let me know in the comment section. I'm trying to think about how old she was when she wrote this. Because, yeah, like, she's definitely kind of past the ballerina age, you know? So it's even maybe more work for her. She took ballet lessons, I think, growing up, and then but she always wanted to be in the Nutcracker. It's not your typical holiday book, but I really enjoyed this book. All right, and finally, A Christmas Carol. Now, this is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott, and I watch this on Christmas Day every year. That's my family's tradition. So we will be getting to this later this month. I'm very excited to watch it again. The prompt is recommend your favorite classic. And again, you know, there are so many books that I have talked about on this channel so many times, and I tried really hard to be creative and talk about something. Maybe I haven't talked about it recently, although I kind of feel like I have. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I have talked about this book recently. Anyway, this is another book that I have read and reread, and that is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And if you haven't read this book by Betty Smith, you are missing out. And it's not just a girl book or anything like that. I made a book club that I was previously in read it. The men loved it as well as the women. So I highly recommend this book. I apologize because I think I just talked about it maybe even a week ago, but I didn't want to like drag down Pride and Prejudice or North and South or, you know, books that I do tend to talk about quite a bit. I could have grabbed Hamlet, you know, I don't know. So, that was a hard one. Okay. So I'm going to tag some people. And again, just remember, this is the movie edition of the Cozy Christmas book tag. So I am going to tag Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl. I think it's Becky at Teacup the Storyteller. Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot. Ellie at My Cozy Chronicles. Novel Idea. And Mindy's Book Journey. So I would love to hear what you think about any of these films or books in the comments section down below. And art, like there were quite a few holiday movies missing, like Charlie Brown, you know, a Charlie Brown Christmas. I wore my little reindeer earrings today because there's no Rudolph. So I could have even done one on Arthur Christmas or Prep and Landing, which are kind of like high tech animated Christmas movies. But yeah, so anyway, it was an interesting selection of movies and some interesting questions. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. thank you guys so much for watching BookTube. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll be back soon with another bookish video. Bye.